this experience was on October 24th, and basically it started off okay, yeah, so like started off oh yeah, well anyway, okay, so back 20 years ago in real life, I was getting on the freeway, me and a friend, and we were going to a town an hour away. We were going to go clubbing, and just, you know, no longer than 5 minutes we were on the freeway, and this is in real life. A semi-truck was about 100 yards up, you know, up ahead of us, and it was already dark time. It was this time of year at 7 p.m. It was exactly 7 p.m. and that's when we headed towards that town, and it was already dark outside because it was like October or November. It was, you know, fall time. And then the semi-truck freaking toppled over. The guy, the driver, fell asleep, and it just toppled over in front of us. But we were like 100 yards back, maybe, I don't know, maybe not even that far, but we were far enough back where we could easily see it, but it wasn't close enough to hit our car or anything. Yeah, that would be kind of dangerous if a little bitty car was next to the semi-driver or semi-truck. But it toppled over, and I saw it like slide as it toppled over. It toppled completely over, and it slid. Or as it was sliding, you can see all of the sparks coming up from the pavement, the asphalt or the concrete or whatever, as it was scooting along. Okay, so then and he was okay because he was standing there after some people came. I can't remember who they were. A couple, I can't remember, troopers or something like that. He was standing there, so he was okay, but he fell asleep, and that was in real life. And then we hurried up though and went around. We went in the little green area between the highway, and we drove around because he did say, he's like, you better hurry up and go around, because pretty soon when the cops come, they're not going to let you, they're going to make you stay, you know, until they pick this damn truck up. So we were able, because we were just like the first car back behind him. You know, we were the first to see it and everything. So we were able to hurry up and drive around, and we didn't have to stay stalled there forever. Like the other people that were coming up later. So anyway, that happened in real life, and that was like, let's see, 22 years ago, or 24 years ago, actually. When was it? I can't add. 22 and 22, 44. Shit, I don't know. I think that's 22 years ago. Okay, so that was like 22 years ago. And so anyway, and another thing is that, you know, I always have it on my brain how, because I live in real life, I live close to a highway, and I always have it on my brain. I'm always thinking about, like, you know, the alien went off of this, because I'm always, you know, I mean, in the past, or not long before this experience, I was always thinking in my brain, like, you know, a semi-truck could, like, topple over, like one of those fucking gas trucks, you know what I'm saying? And, I don't know if they're sealed real good or not, but the alien told me they were in this experience. I doubt they are. I mean, if they topple over, the gas is probably going to come running out. But, I mean, I just always had that thought in my brain, like, hopefully if it ever does that, it'll be, like, many, many, many miles down the road or whatever. But, anyway, so that was on my brain, you know. I mean, the alien picked that part from 22 years ago. What? I don't know, man, I can't add. It was either 22 or 24 years ago. 24, I think. But anyway, so yeah, so he picked that little detail from my brain for this experience, the one that was 24 years ago. And then of course the recent thoughts that I had about the highway that I live by, and a gas truck toppling over, thoughts about that or whatever. And then but there was this other funny detail that was in the experience, and the alien basically went off. I used to watch this video. This guy talks about harassment and gang stalking, and he's always getting pictures of helicopters and stuff. And he must be poor or something. He's living in like an RV, and like some of these people are just freaking bums, They like get on YouTube and like beg for money. I mean, like I don't fucking beg for money on fucking Patreon or whatever the fuck. I mean, I know how to manage my money, so I got a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I could do that, and people probably, they may give $1 or $2 or whatever, but I'm just not a bum like that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, maybe if they really needed it and didn't have a job or something. But everybody's just, like, greedy, you know what I'm saying? But someday, I can make a website and I'll fucking charge people to listen to my stories, I mean, it wouldn't be a lot. It wouldn't be any more than like $1, something like that. But I can't get them without the aliens. But I get them pretty regularly, and if I have a really good experience, I may charge $5, but if it's kind of shitty, I'll charge $1, I can make a little money that way. But, and then of course, I'd have to put a disclaimer and shit, like, you have to agree to the terms, like if you don't, you may not think this is a great experience, but for me it was, and blah, 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 but, your money is non-refundable. But anyway, and of course, another thing is, what was I gonna say? Like, they may not. Oh yeah, another thing is, put a disclaimer. I'm not a professional fucking actor or speaker or anything like that. So you gotta agree to know that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, but yeah, I am thinking about doing that someday. Okay, so but I mean, I'm not hurting for money or anything. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so because like I know how to fucking budget my money. Okay, so anyway, another thing that Alien went off of was that guy, he acts like he's poor and he lives in a camper, and one part of the scenario, it's like I was going to a friend's apartment. It was under the scenario, it was like a studio apartment, but 2 compartments, very, very, very small. But they look like more like 2 small little camper areas. But this was like in the sky, like about 5 stories high in the sky. And I don't remember going up any stairs or anything. Okay, so, yeah, so, but anyway, under the scenario, the man, the real life guy that has that camper and talks about the gang stalking or whatever, under the scenario, it was like, I felt like that's totally what the alien was copying from, was copying off the camper, the little camper. But under the scenario, it wasn't him that was in my scenario. It was like a friend. I felt like it was a friend that I went to see. Like, it felt like a friend, or not a friend, just a peer that I went to school with in high school. But when I was under the experience, I knew, who it was. But now I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was like a peer from high school. It wasn't the guy from YouTube, but the alien was copying off the camper part of it. the two little compartments, the two little camper, which under the scenario, it was supposed to be like a studio, small, teeny tiny little apartment. But it was like up in the sky, like 5, 7 stories up in the sky. And that's not the first time they've given me experience where I went to this guy's apartment, and under that scenario, this was many years ago, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It was like a lucid virtual reality. It was kind of lucid dream, but virtual reality. And I went to my boss's apartment, except this was like 5,000 feet in the air. I know this is weird, but it was like 5,000 feet in the air. And I was in his apartment. Anyway, the cat, it like went rogue. And that was the virtual reality part when the cat, I can't remember since it was so long ago, I can't remember if it attacked my neck or if it attacked his neck. But under the scenario, he was living with his girlfriend, and in real life, you know, he had a girlfriend and everything. But anyway, that's not the first time where, like, you know, the alien sticks me in, like, an apartment and I'm way up in the sky. That's not the first time. But under, like I say, under this scenario, I was just about 5, I would say more like 5 stories in the sky, you know, not very high up. Okay, so the scenario started like this. So I was going to, and I was asking for an experience. But I wasn't saying that it could be sexual or non-sexual or anything like that. I was just like asking for an experience, but not a specific experience. And this is what I got. So anyway, so I was driving along. It's like I was driving in the direction to work, but I wasn't going to work. It was like I was off that day, and it was sunny. So I was driving along, and all of this was exact replica of my real reality, the streets and the roads. So it's like I was off this day, and I felt like it was like a Monday too, matter of fact. I felt like it was a Monday, and it was sunny outside, and I felt like it was like 1 o'clock, like 1 p.m. And the alien didn't tell me where I was going. I don't know where I was going, but I was driving in the direction of work. And then over to the, and then all of a sudden, like the roads got super duper busy. On the left side of the road, there's 2 roads going in the opposite direction, and then the side I'm on, you know, two roads going in, you know, the opposite direction. So anyway, all of a sudden, I was driving along, all of a sudden, it's just like packed full of cars everywhere. But mainly on the left side of the road, the 2 lanes going in the opposite direction of me. The left side of the road, like all of a sudden I looked over there was tons and tons and tons of cars. And then all of a sudden I saw the semi-truck in the far right lane. And it bobbled. It goes like, it bobbled like it was about to fall over. And I was just like, whoa. When I saw it, I was just like, whoa. Okay, so then I proceeded to take a left turn. I took a left turn, and like I say, under the scenario, it was like exact replica. And that street was Parkview Street. And in real life, it's Parkview Street. And in real life, you know, it's Battlefield Street. And in real life, the alien, you know, was duplicating all of that under the scenario. So I took a left, and I drove all the way up Parkview Street. And then all of a sudden, this, that particular truck was like a Penske truck. It like pulled out, like as if it came out, like as if it shot out of that house on the corner. It shot out, like pulled out, shot out, and then like coming towards me and was trying to like almost like run me off the road. And that was like the Penske truck. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, I would like to drive back around, you know, the other road, like turn around, drive back the other road. Or drive back down that other road, which I think is called, I forgot what it's called. I forgot what that other street is called. That's next to Parkview Street. And so I turned back around and I drove back down that other road, heading towards Parkview Street because, you know, in my mind I wanted to see what happened to that. And by the way, it was a gas truck. Now, And the scenario, you know, I can't remember if it was, as far as I remember, it wasn't like rounded like a gas truck. It was just like a normal square looking semi truck. But tell you the truth, I can't remember. It may have been rounded. Because I waited. I don't know why I waited too long to tell the story, but it could have been rounded. I do remember the color of it though. It was like brownish, silverish. That was the color of the gas truck. But like I say, I think maybe it was rounded. But anyway, so after the Penske truck tried to run me off the road, I pulled back around, went back down the other street that was parallel towards Parkview Street. And then I went up towards Parkview Street, and then I looked over to my left, and the gas truck was completely turned over on its side. And it was on its right side, just like in real life, what happened 24 years ago. And it was just sitting there on its right side. And so I started having all these thoughts like, oh my God, you know, like that gas is gonna fucking smell a million miles away, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't live very far from there, you know. In the real end of the scenario, I was like, you know, I don't live very far from this truck or whatever. And you know, in real life, I don't live very far from Parkview Street. And so when I was in the scenario, you know, I was like, you know, I hope I don't smell that smell, you know, the gas smell or whatever. And so anyway, and then there was like I say, all of a sudden when I was driving along, when the scenario started, on my side of the road, there wasn't very many cars as far as I remember, but when I looked over to my left, it was just boom, all of a sudden, just back to back, bumper to bumper cars all of a sudden. And then that's when I saw the semi-truck bobble, the gas truck bobble. And so then I was just thinking, okay, shit, you know, for some reason I was thinking, I was thinking maybe I should go back, you know, home. So then I pulled back up. Well, anyway, so I ended back on Parkview Street, and I started going, like I was going towards home, you know, away from Parkview Street. And then I pulled into that little area, which is like a law office or accounting office, something like that, CPA or law. And in real life, that's what it is. And under the scenario, I pulled into that driveway. And under the scenario, it was the same thing, that same little building right there. There used to actually be a house right there, but they tore it down and put a business. But there used to be a residential house right there. Okay, so I pulled in there, and I was just I don't know why I pulled in there. I was just thinking, I guess just as to observe the situation. So I pulled in there, and I was in my normal car that I have in real life. I pulled in there, and I stopped, and I just sat there. And then all of a sudden, like a city utilities truck pulls up and blocks me in. It was like a city utilities truck, U-Haul, UPS, DHL. It was like 4 or 5 trucks, just bam, 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 and it blocked me in the parking lot of that business. And two men got out. It was like the city utilities truck man got out. 2 of those men like got out, and they were like, "You better hurry up." And they said something like, "You're not going to be able to leave if you to leave this area if you stay here much longer." And I was like, "Well, I just live down the road, so I'm going to go ahead and go home." And so he was just kind of like, "Okay, well, you better hurry up." So see, the alien was copying that back from 24 years ago. Copying that from 24 years ago. And so anyway, yeah, the city utility men, and I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and leave, I'm going to go ahead and go home. And they didn't really seem to care, but they were just kind of like, you're going to be stuck here, you can't go anywhere. But I was like, yes, I am. I'm going to go ahead and leave and go home because I don't want to be stuck there forever. Until the cops came to observe the situation and stuff. They were just going to make everybody stay put until they observed the situation and got the truck back upright or whatever. So anyway, this is the funny part, because when I pulled in there, I was in my car. Okay, so I hurried up after the 2 city utilities truck people started talking to me. I hurried up and pulled back out on the street. And at that time, I ended up in a little tricycle type of thing. it wasn't like a motorcycle. I don't know. It just seemed like almost like just like a fast bicycle or something. But I was driving in the middle of the road just like a normal motorcycle or whatever. And it had a little compartment on the back like it was a little tricycle type of thing. But I don't really remember it actually being motorized, but the aliens are just funny. But it was just like almost like a bicycle or something. And in the back of the compartment, I had at least 4 of my cats. And all of a sudden, they started like, bam, 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 shooting out of the back. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta hurry up and round my cats up and stick them back in the compartment. Because I wanted to hurry up and get home so I wouldn't have to smell that smell in case it started smelling, in case the gas smell started smelling. Okay, so anyway, yeah, the aliens, they do funny things like that sometimes. Like, all of a sudden, I'll be in my vehicle, and then boom, then they stick me in like something else, like a little tricycle, like this tricycle, with the cats. Okay, so one part I forgot. Well, actually, yeah, no, I guess this was, no, actually, I didn't forget it, but this is the end of the scenario. So after, all the semi-trucks, not the semi-trucks, the normal trucks, the big trucks, delivery trucks, after they trapped me in, I hurried up and zoomed around the corner to go back down Parkview Street because I proceeded to go home because I wanted to hurry up and get home and get my cats home. But like I say, at that point, I all of a sudden was in like a tricycle type of, I can't remember, I don't know if it was motorized, but because I wasn't going very fast at all. It seemed like I was going like 15 miles an hour. And four of my cats were in the little compartment in the back. Okay, so then I proceeded to go home because I wanted to hurry up and get away from the gasoline and stuff. Okay, so after that, okay, here's the end of the scenario. For whatever reason, I ended up, like I said before, 5 stories high in that guy's apartment that the alien was trying to copy off of in real life from YouTube. Except in the scenario, this guy that I went to see, and there was like 2 other people there too, but I can't remember who they were. They were standing there, 2 other people, like another girl and another boy, like you know, my age or college student or whatever. And but like I say, the man that I went to see, I felt like the alien was copying off a guy that I knew, you know, in real life from high school. And I went to see him. He was just an acquaintance. And this, oh my God, like I say, I was 5 stories up in the air. And like I say, all of a sudden I was in his apartment standing there. And like I looked over to the right. It's like I was in like a little hallway area that separated the 2 components of his little shack, so to speak. Okay, so over to the right, I was looking at his, and it was kind of dirty. I was looking at his, part of his little studio apartment, but it was more like half of a camper. And I was looking in there and I was just like, wow, this is so tiny. And it literally was like, no bigger than like a big closet. Like, I don't know, like 8 feet by 10 feet. It was like 8 feet by 10 feet. A little bedroom over to the right. And I was just like, wow, this little, you know, studio apartment is really, really small. But like I say, they told me, the alien told me it was like more like a studio apartment, but it was really like a camper. It was like half a camper, and then over to the left was another half a camper. Okay, so after I observed his bedroom, and it was like I said, it was kind of crappy and dirty, by the way, and there was a bed in there. And then over to my right, I went over into the other little camper, the other part of the camper, and it was the same size, like 8 feet by 10 feet. And like I say, there was a guy and a girl standing there, and we talked a little bit, and I'll tell you what he said in a minute. But anyway, so that part, when I was over to the left in the little studio part of the camp, or the studio apartment, which was actually half of another camper, I was looking in there, and I was just like, wow, this is so tiny. And that's where the kitchen was. I saw the little sink and everything. And like I say, the whole, you know, quote, studio apartment, it was just dirty, but it was more like a camper, like two halves of a camper. Okay, so anyway, but the reason why I went to him was just for advice. And after I was, you know, went home, but under the scenario, you know, the alien, I didn't actually step foot in my home. But I was, you know, I was driving in the direction of home. I was going home, and the little track bike with my cats. And so basically, and I do remember all of us talking, like the female said some things, the other man said some things, but the guy that I went to see, which was my acquaintance, which, like I say, was the alien, was trying to copy off of a peer that I went to school with in high school. But anyway, and he had like brown hair, short brown hair, but it wasn't the man from the YouTube video, but the alien was copying off of that camper, like the camper thing. And but anyway, so I went to him for advice, and basically he told me, he's like, oh, you don't have to worry about the gas leaking or anything because it's sealed really good. It's sealed tight. He said those, you know, those gas vehicles are sealed really tight, and that I wouldn't have to worry about smelling any kind of smell lingering in the atmosphere, you know, because, you know, it was sealed tight and the gas wouldn't leak out onto the pavement or the asphalt, whatever it is. So basically, that was my virtual reality experience. But sometimes, you know, even though they place you, and actually, as far as I remember, I actually did look out the window of that little camper. And like I say, I looked down and it's like I was like 5 stories up in the sky. But the alien didn't actually, you know, make me, he just placed me there. It's not like he made me go up a little elevator or anything like that to get to his little studio apartment, which was like 2 halvesies of a camper. You know, 2 halvesies of a camper. But anyway, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Okay, the semi-truck toppled over. I saw it bobble first. And like I say, it was totally virtual reality. Like when I was driving up the road, the first part of the scenario, and this, the Penske truck just like, came out and was like, you know, the aliens, they're really good with technology or whatever. And yeah, and a matter of fact, it even like brushed me, it hit me, it brushed me up against the side of my car. And, but that's what it was doing. It was trying to like, kind of hit me and run me off the road, you know what I mean? Because the aliens, they kind of like to do rogue things. Oh, he probably copied off of that because not too long ago in real life, I was coming from the store or whatever, and this car just like came over like as if it was trying to run me off the road. But I think the person, I don't know, I got his license plate. I think they were just on drugs or something, but I don't know how the hell that fucker didn't hit me. But I like laid on my horn, like bam, like you know, laid on it. And I don't know, these people are stupid. They just act like they're in a trance or something. But yeah, he just like bam, just came over on me like that a few months ago. Well, I don't know if it was a girl or a guy, but I don't think it was deliberate. Or, you know, alien could have mind controlled him. One of the bad aliens could have mind controlled him to do that. But I don't know, I got really fast reflexes and he didn't even hit me at all. But I was just like, you dumb motherfucker. And I honked on my horn. And like I say, I got the license plate. I can't remember what it was now. But he was in like an older car. And, but yeah, people are just stupid. He's probably texting or something. But yeah, so the alien probably copied off of that because that did happen recently, a few months ago. When this car just like, it just like came over on my side, just like in my lane, just boom. And how the hell he didn't hit me, I have no idea. But I just hurried up and kind of went over. I mean, I don't know how the hell he didn't hit me, but he didn't even touch me at all. But yeah, so the alien probably copied off of that, making the Penske truck, like, trying to hit me or whatever. Okay, so let me see if I'm forgetting anything. I was driving in the direction of work. I went to a friend's up in the sky for advice. But yeah, that was also pretty cool when all the four... This wasn't like lucid dreaming. This is more virtual reality. Virtual reality. Out-of-body experience. But sometimes, you know, they're still kind of lucid dreaming, even though they're out-of-body and virtual reality. But this is more like virtual reality, I guess, than like lucid dreaming. But yeah, I mean, it's so realistic. They make it so realistic, man, when all these trucks just like bam, 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 try to block me in. I mean, it was like UPS, FedEx, U-Haul, the city utilities truck, you know, DHL. I mean, it's so freaking realistic. It's like 100% real. But then some parts will be like totally stupid. Like when all of a sudden I'm supposed to be taken off in my car off of that little road or off of the little parking lot where they blocked me in. Then all of a sudden I'm in this trike bike that kind of looks like that. Except I don't really remember being motorized. Like I felt like it was more like a bike. But like I say, I was going like probably 15 miles an hour. Like there's some parts like that didn't really make much sense, you know what I mean? But yeah, the aliens are funny. They'll put little haphazard pieces in some of my good experiences. But yeah, some of my experiences, they're just 100%. There's no flaky stuff in it at all, you know? No stupid stuff or flaky stuff. Like it all totally like freaking virtual reality or whatever. But anyway, well, if I'm forgetting anything, I don't think I am. But if I forget anything, I'll put it in the comments. But I'm pretty sure I'm not forgetting anything. But yeah, the truck, the semi-truck that bobbled, like I say, maybe it was rounded. See, that's part, well, see, I would have remembered if I would have told the story right after the experience, but it was like October 24th, so today's November 5th. I waited too long to tell the story. But the semi-truck, as far as I remember, like I said, it could have been rounded. It was either square or rounded, but all I know is that it was a gas truck and a bobbled. And that's when I knew, you know, oh my God, like gas is going to spill out and blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, I didn't actually see it. I only saw it bobble. But when it bobbled, when I saw it bobbled, as I already turned off onto Parkview Street, I was just like, whoa, you know, I'm worried about that semi-truck. So that's why I needed to go back and look to see if it really did, you know, fall on its side, which it did. And it was laid out, totally laid out on its side, just like in real life what happened, you know, 24 years ago. But yeah, these experiences are like so much fun. You never know what you're gonna get, you know. And this kind of reptilian, he gives me lots of experiences like this, and he never really does sexual things or anything, you know. It's Joel that always does all the sexual stuff. Well, anyway, thanks for listening.